Here's a mind-bending statistic. 70% of adults with ADHD report that mornings are their most challenging time of day. Yet most productivity advice completely ignores how differently the ADHD brain processes morning routines.
That's fascinating, and it really highlights how traditional morning routine advice might actually be making things harder for people with ADHD.
Well, it's because the ADHD brain has this unique relationship with time and executive function. Think of it like having a high-performance sports car with a GPS that sometimes takes unexpected detours. The engine works great, but the navigation system processes things differently.
Could you break down what's actually happening in the brain during these morning hours?
So, here's where neuroscience gets really interesting. The prefrontal cortex, which handles all our executive functions, processes information differently in ADHD brains. Studies show there's about a 30% delay in brain maturation in these areas, which directly impacts morning routines.
That explains why traditional morning checklists might not work as well for someone with ADHD.
Exactly. And get this, research shows that people with ADH actually have higher cognitive processing during evening hours, which is why so many report being night owls. It's not laziness or lack of discipline. It's literally their brain's natural rhythm.
So, how does someone work with these biological differences rather than fighting against them?
Well, one groundbreaking approach involves what experts call task bracketing, breaking down morning routines into micro steps that the ADHD brain can process more easily. Instead of get ready, you might have put on socks, followed by brush teeth for exactly 2 minutes.
That makes so much sense. It's like creating a series of small, manageable wins instead of one overwhelming challenge.
And here's something fascinating about dopamine. The ADHD brain typically has lower baseline levels, which affects motivation and focus. By celebrating these micro wins, you're actually helping to regulate brain chemistry.
How does that translate into practical morning strategies?
Picture this. You create what I call a morning success map. It's like a video game level where each completed task gives you a small dopamine boost. Research shows this approach can increase morning task completion by up to 40%.
That's really interesting about the reward system. What about managing the emotional aspects?
Well, studies indicate that about 85% of adults with ADHD experience significant emotional dysregulation, especially during transition periods like mornings. The key is implementing what experts call compassionate structure, creating supportive frameworks while acknowledging perfect execution isn't the goal.
How do successful ADHD morning strategies address that emotional component?
One breakthrough approach involves time anchoring, using external cues to help the ADHD brain better perceive time. For instance, using music playlists where each song corresponds to a different task, creating a natural flow without the stress of watching the clock.
That's such a creative solution. What about the role of evening preparation?
Here's where it gets really interesting. Studies show that the ADHD brain typically functions about 40% more efficiently in the evening for planning tasks. So using that time strategically can transform your mornings. It's like sending a care package to your future self.
Could you walk us through what an ideal evening prep routine might look like?
Research suggests a three-part approach. First, the morning simulation, mentally walking through tomorrow's sequence. Second, the environment setup, positioning everything in order of use. And third, what experts call the decision elimination, removing any choices that could slow down the morning process.
That's fascinating how it all connects to the brain's executive functioning.
And here's something surprising. Studies show that people with ADHD who implement these strategies report a 60% reduction in morning stress levels within just 2 weeks. It's not about changing who you are. It's about working with your brain's natural tendencies.
That's really encouraging. What final thoughts would you share with our listeners?
Well, the latest research emphasizes that ADHD isn't a deficit of attention. It's a difference in how attention is regulated. Understanding this can transform how we approach morning routines, moving from frustration to acceptance and effective strategies.
That's such a powerful perspective shift to end on.
And remember, your morning routine doesn't define your worth. It's just one part of your day, and tomorrow always brings a fresh start and new opportunities to try different approaches.